So I am super excited to invite Stacy. I really enjoy watching Stacy's channel because first of all, go girl power, right? Like she is so independent and fierce and strong. And I admire that she stays in the Yukon because I know how cold it gets here and she's way farther north than I am. But she does a lot of industrious stuff like building her cabin and her outhouse. And it's like a magnification of 100 times anything that I've tried to do in my van build and my ambulance. So I definitely see her as a role model that way. And it's just really nice to see some of the stuff that is up in the Yukon, and it's another part of Canada that is so wonderful to share with everyone. So I am going to bring up Stacy. Hey, how are you?
Doing the wave, the obligatory wave.
So, you live up in the Yukon, but that's not where you grew up. Where did you grow up, Stacy?
I grew up in Calgary, Alberta. Cowtown, Calgary.
So only like 10, 11 hours away from me.
More like, well, driving, it's like 24 hours. 24 to 30-hour drive.
Well, from where you are now, from Calgary to Weyburn.
Oh, to you, yeah.
Yeah, you grew up where my son goes to university, so that's okay. Small world. And actually, we had just talked a little bit before this started about where I am, and I'm near Regina. You know Regina as well.
I know it very well, yeah. That's why I was excited to find out that you were from Saskatchewan and had close ties with Regina, because I spent many a summer and Christmases there with my grandparents who lived in Regina. So I know Regina pretty well.
That's awesome.
Very flat. We drove there a lot. I know that 8-hour drive. I think it was for us to Regina.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we did it a lot.
So how old were you when you moved to the Yukon?
It's a long story how I ended up here, but I guess I'll start at the beginning. I'd always wanted to come to the north. I had an obsession with dog sledding in my 20s. I don't know where it came from or where I got it from. I just wanted to be involved with sled dogs somehow. So I got really into like the Iditarod and the Yukon Quest. And then I was married at the time in my early 20s, mid 20s. And then I was going through a divorce at the end of my 20s. And I was just like, I need to get out of here and get away. And so I just left, and I had a job and everything, and I just dropped everything and moved up to the Yukon here to be a handler or a guide for a dog sled company. And they knew nothing about it. I don't know why they hired me, because I think they were desperate. And so it was a steep learning curve. And the musher, he had been in the Yukon Quest many times, and he knew his stuff, but wasn't the greatest at training us. So it was kind of like, here you go. Teach yourself how to run dogs and stuff. So I'd spent the winter. I moved here in December and had a horrible drive up the Alaska Highway in December. And I'll never forget that. So I would think I was 29 when I moved up here.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I spent the next few years working there at the kennel. And we had like 80 dogs there. And I just did guided trips every day and overnighters. And I camped outside and did like multi-day trips. And I loved it. And then that's how I ended up with all my dogs. I just knew I wanted a bunch of dogs. And
how many dogs do you have right now, Stacy?
Right now, just 8.
Just 8?
That's all.
So did you know that you already loved dogs, or you just realized after you started working with them?
No, I always loved dogs. We always had dogs growing up, and but I never really did anything with dog sledding. I just that just popped up one day, and I think it was that plus the wanting to live in the north. I always had a fascination with the north, and the big city wasn't for me anymore. I mean, Calgary was growing, and it's massive now compared to then. But I was commuting like 45 minutes a day, and like just hating it, and the traffic and all the people, and I just always wanted to live like rurally. So. And I don't know why. I grew up in the city, in the suburbs. So, but we also had family in Lethbridge, and they had a farm. So we'd always go down there, and we'd hang out there, and we'd ride pigs and like hang out on the farm for days. And so that was like my bout of like ruralness. Whenever we visited the farm, we always had to do chores and stuff. So, and I loved it. And I didn't know if I'd ever move on to a farm, but this is the closest thing, I guess. And it's less work than having a bunch of animals and livestock. But yeah, so that's where my interest from that came in, I think.
So you moved there, you started working for that company. Where did you live? Because you've lived in a lot of different kind of places since you've been there.
Well, yeah. So that place they had, this was 1999, and like I feel so ancient now. Like 1999 feels so far away, but we didn't really have much of the internet back then. And I moved into this. They had all these cabins on the property, so I moved into one of the cabins. It was 16 by 16, had a crappy little stove that they call hippie burners because they burn really hot. And a bunch of the hippies who moved into the Yukon would like make them, they get too hot and they'd burn their houses or cabins down. So it was like it was notorious for like killing people or structures or whatever. But so that was the slang name for them. So I had one of those and it burned for 5 hours and then it died out and then it'd be freezing, and it'd be either freezing or super hot. So it wasn't the greatest place, but I just stuck it out because I really like going out with the dogs every day. And just like, I love that kind of job, it paid next to nothing. I didn't even get paid at all. Actually, I just like worked for room and board and learning how to run the dogs.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was about it. And then, I was in that place. I've been in a few cabins. This is my biggest cabin in the Yukon. 20
That's
by
awesome.
24.
We're going to show them some pictures of some of that process. I'm just going to say a quick thank you to Van Life with Gina for that super sticker. So do you race your dogs? Is that why you have 8?
No, these guys are all old guys now. Well, the youngest ones are 8, so they still run in the team. But I had dreams of, so like in 2000 in the Yukon Quest, there was a woman named Ali Zirkel who was 30 years old and won. She was the first woman ever to win the Yukon Quest. So 1,000 male dog race. It's similar to the Iditarod if you haven't heard of it. But just a grueling race, and she's just this total badass woman who can like survive out in like -50 alone in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm not in the middle of nowhere. Well, I'm not in the middle. I have it pretty easy compared to them out on the trails because they have to make fires for themselves. If it gets too cold, they have to stay alive.
Yeah.
I have a wood stove and backup electrical power. Like it's not that tough the way I'm living now. But so she kind of got me into like a fired up. I'm like, I want to run the Yukon Quest. And then I realized how much work and money it costs and just like the sheer amount of time you put into it. And I realized that wasn't for me. You have to have a lot more dogs. You have to have like 25 to 30 dogs to have a good team to run it. And so I just kept handling for people and being involved with the race. And then I got my own team of dogs and I just would run them recreationally. But we started up a dog sled league here for recreational mushers. So, that anyone can go, and even pet dog. We had a pet dog class where you could go with your pet dog and bike jaw or ski jaw with them or just run with them. Yeah.
So these guys probably wouldn't cut it.
No, they could totally cut it. Any dog.
Them. Do you think they could throw me in the snow?
You might have to put little booties on them.
I know, right?
But, yeah, so that's all the racing I did was just getting involved in the local races. And I always was last and always got like the red lantern, which they give at the end of the race or for the last person who comes in because we were always last in everything I did. So, yeah, we're not this is like they're half sled dogs, half couch dogs, right? So they're not like super motivated on the trail.
But you have amazing drone shots of the area that you live and that whole trail that you do out in the snow. Like do you do the same thing with your driveway? Like you drag stuff to pack it down instead of scraping snow away?
No, I plow it now. Yeah, okay. Now I have an ATV. You're looking into my past though, because I didn't have a plow when I first moved here. And I built like a big triangular kind of contraption that I just dragged behind my truck to kind of push the snow up because the driveway is like a half a kilometer long. So it's pretty long. But so now I just have a quad and I plow it with the quad. So it's a lot easier. It still takes me, if we get a good dump of snow, it's still like 2 hours of my time is like plowing that damn driveway.
But then for the trail, what are you doing now?
Oh, the trail. For the trail, I'm, what am I doing? Oh, I'm dragging tires behind that now. Yeah, behind my quad and packing it that way. And I just went out today. We actually just had a massive temperature swing. It was like -38 2 nights ago. And right now it's -4.
I know it's supposed to warm up for us too.
What is it there now?
Oh gosh, I think last I saw it was -17 because we hit with the wind chill the -50s and it's supposed to be 1 above Celsius on Saturday. I'm like,
wow,
what?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the heat wave is coming. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Do you find, other than this, this big 10-day cold snap we had, do you feel like this winter is not as bad as normal?
Well, I don't know. Like a lot of the people around here are saying that, but I just remember our early cold snap in October, and it was like it went to -30. Like all of a sudden, we went from like nice fall temperatures to here you go -30 for another week or whatever. Like all of a sudden, no easing into it, no cooling off, no gradually. But I guess other than that, it has been pretty mild. Like December was okay. I think it was just the first couple weeks in November that were and November's notoriously nasty, and it's darker and more depressing for people. So it seems longer and colder. But yeah, up until now, it's been like -20 is the coldest, and that's fine. Like that's okay to deal with up here. Like it's kind of normal.
Well, and you guys used to do daylight savings time, but you're not doing that anymore, right?
Yeah, we started this year. Like it's still light out, and here it's like 7 after 7 now, so it's still light out, and yeah, we didn't
dark here.
Yeah, it's crazy how and it made a huge difference. Like we're still on, what are we on? We're on Mountain Time right now. And then when they go back, I guess we'll be on Pacific Time. But so it made a big difference. Like in the evenings we have a lot more light now, but it also, a lot of people don't like that it didn't get dark out or light out until like 11 in the morning. So mornings can seem long when it's that dark for that late, but I mean, it went pretty fast. And I don't get out typically until the afternoon anyway, so I don't mind.
Because it gives you time to warm up a little bit outside.
Yeah,
we have tons of interest in this chat about your dogs. Like, are they huskies?
Well, they're kind of like a breed known as Alaskan Huskies. So they are like a special breed for like sled dogs. So they've got they're not like your typical Siberian Huskies, which are the big, fluffy, like snow dogs type dogs with the blue eyes and everything. So these guys have a little bit more hound in them. So they're bred to be like faster and quicker. And some have shorter coats, some have longer coats. Like it just depends. They're kind of a mix, husky mix kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I found it really interesting, some of the stuff you go through for their food. And one of the questions is, do the dogs eat frozen salmon like the mountain men show? I know they eat beef and chicken.
Yeah, like I don't give them salmon, like whole salmon. We buy it. We get it brought in from like the mushers will bring it in for a whole bunch of people, and they come in the big 50-pound blocks. So they're those big blocks that I chop up, and they're 50 pounds, and they're beef, chicken, salmon, turkey. There's a variety of things. So they get that mixed in with kibble.
I got such a kick out of watching you pull out the chainsaw to cut the meat for them. And then you did it on that tarp, and I am laughing so much.
Yeah, that was not the smartest thing I've done. It didn't even occur to me that the tarp would get cut, but live and learn. I like to think my skills with a chainsaw are pretty good, so I could get close to the tarp, and I didn't put too many holes in it, just like one.
Yeah, you did really good.
I put a piece of plywood on top, and I buzzed through that right away too.
Well, I'm watching a lot of the stuff that you do, and I'm thinking you must have pipes, like all the different things that you handle and equipment, and Ray says his bucket list is spending a week with you, running the dogs, eating meat dust. Obviously, he's a good, faithful watcher, saying the meat dust. Having tea with the grizzly bear, road trip to the dump, refilling the water tank, and finishing projects and in the winter.
Anytime. I can just help all year round. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then Stacy will go to Jamaica while he's taking care of business.
Or even anywhere it's warm. It's just some pretty cool places. I'm jealous. I love the areas that he's been in lately. Like 1 year when I was in university for archaeology. That was what my trade was for a while. And we went to Utah and Colorado and did some digs down there in university. And those are memories that I'll never forget. Like it was such an amazing time. It was just so hot, too, like so hot, and having to worry about snakes was something I'd never had to deal with before because we never saw snakes.
I know, right?
Like, yeah, they're like, oh, there's a rattler. Be careful, everybody. We're like, what? You're gonna attack our feet? Like, oh my god. okay, we're used to bears and stuff up here, but and it's snakes and some of the spiders and stuff down there too, like, and the ticks, all the ticks that they had too. We had to do like a nightly tick check where.
Well, don't you have ticks up there? We have ticks
No.
here.
No, we don't have ticks up here. We did. In Calgary, there's ticks around. I actually had a tick in my head once in Calgary.
Not up in the Yukon.
No, there's none up here. No, I think they're making like they're starting to show up here. I've heard that from the vets recently, but like it's not something you have to worry about on dogs at all, really. Like I've never seen them at all in 20 years.
Wow, that's all right. But you still get the flies and stuff in the winter.
The what?
Or in the summer, the flies.
Oh, the flies, yeah. And, porcupines are kind of a troublesome creature with dogs because they bite them and get quills all over the place. And there's also watching out for the bears. And right now we're having a problem with lynx because they're saying that the snowshoe hare population is low. And so the lynx have been trying to steal pet dogs. They've actually attacked a couple dogs in different towns across the Yukon. So got to watch out for them now. Yeah.
And I've heard things too, like the wildlife's becoming a lot more used to being around people and stuff. Animals migrate into different areas where certain animals had never been seen before.
Yeah, like we're starting to get cougars up here, and we never really had cougars before, but there's sightings of them every once in a while. So they might be moving up here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mayhem RV would like to know, what kind of quad do you use? And it has a winch on the front. I'm like, that is so brilliant. But I'm like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I have ever thought of that? Like,
yeah, you need it when you get stuck all the time. It comes in handy. I use that thing like once every couple of weeks to get myself unstuck. What is it? It's a Polaris Sportsman 500, I think. My dad actually got it at an auction in Calgary. He's this big, like he loves going to auctions and trying to find old vehicles and stuff. And when he knew I needed a quad, he's like, okay, I'll go to the auction. And so he went for weeks and weeks to try and get one. And he got me a really good deal on it. And I've had it for, I think, over 5 years now, 5 or 6 years. I should get him to a skidoo for me because that's what I really need is a skidoo.
Yeah, you were just saying that in one of your last videos that you wanted a skidoo.
Yeah, they're just so expensive though, so it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Hey, should we maybe run through some of these pictures and I'll let you talk about them so that we don't run out of time for them?
Sure.
All right, I am going to add them to the stream. All right, so this is a part of your whole cabin build, correct?
Yeah, well, that was when I was getting adventurous and I wanted to have a bathroom. So at this point, I had my cabin built and I'd been in it for probably a year or something. I don't even remember how long, but then I decided I kind of wanted like a bathroom and I wanted a bathtub. And so I just started building a wall, had no idea how to do it, but I think, yeah.
You just figure it out as you go along?
I think then that was probably like 2008 or 9. So, I could look on YouTube for some ideas and stuff and just whip some 2x4s together and put up a couple walls.
That's awesome.
And then, yeah, that's the drywall, throwing up the drywall for the bathroom.
Drywall is not fun.
Oh my God. Tell me about it.
Okay, this is your water tank, but this is outside.
Yeah, that's before I moved it inside. I had just gotten it, so I was trying to figure out how to get it inside because it's so big and wide and wouldn't fit through the door. Did I send you the picture of it going through the window?
No.
Okay, because I ended up, I have one window that I never put in because the builder didn't build the right size window. Anyways, long story short, I just had to shove it through the open. I had to take the frame apart and just like throw it through the thing to.
Because you built it out of logs, right? So it's not like you can do anything other than the window. Yeah, oh my God.
It was one thing I didn't really think about. I had actually my uncle and cousin, and they're in Edmonton, and they run a trucking company, and they brought it up for me. So I was able to get it up here pretty cheaply. And then I was like, oh, how am I going to get it inside my place? I didn't really think ahead on that one.
I'm just going to quickly play some moose milk for Red-Headed Riding Hood. Thank you so much for that.
With you, I can be sad with you. Just take my hand and fly up through the dreams where the skies are so clear. With you, I want to stay with you. Speaking
of moose, Do you hunt for moose and elk and deer?
I'm not much of a hunter. My dad and brother were, and they always tried to get me to go hunting, and I never really did. But now I look back and I wish I did, because it'd be a valuable skill to have. I go out like target shooting with them, so I have guns and I can shoot them. But I've never really gotten into the hunting. I get lots of meat from friends who hunt and stuff. You know, we do trades and like meat and stuff. But yeah, I haven't really done a whole lot myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got this tank in. Now, how do you fill it when it's in the house?
So that's how I haul my water with my truck, and then I throw a hose through the window and use a pump, and then it just pumps it up.
Oh, all right.
Oh yeah, that was, looking back on these is funny. It's been so long since I looked at them. That was doing the insulation. So yeah, when I moved up here, or when I bought my place, I had a friend who was just starting a log home building company, and he put the shell together for me. So he built all the logs and the frame at his place, and then, you know, built it all there, took it down, brought it here, stacked it back up. And so he did the shell and the roof, and then he's like, and this was in October, and I was sleeping in my wall tent too, and it was starting to be like getting really cold then, and I'm like, oh my God, would you hurry up? I need to move inside. And then, but he didn't do insulation or anything, or the floor or anything. And so I still had like weeks of work to do before I could move in. So this is me like trying to get in as fast as possible in October, November, and getting the insulation in the loft there that's upstairs.
And this is now your bedroom area.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how the ladder is there kind of precariously.
Oh my gosh. That is right. That is scary.
Yeah.
Stacy. Stacy.
I'm sure I had it better balanced when I was actually on it, but.
This is your place. It's gorgeous.
Cabin, and then that big tarp on the left is the window that we broke while we put it in. A friend and I were putting it in, and we were both on the outside and didn't think of having anybody on the inside, and all of a sudden the window just started to fall really slowly, and we couldn't you can't grab anything or anything, and before we knew it, it was just smashed on the ground. So, but these are really old used windows that I got that I still have. I need to replace really soon, this summer hopefully. But yeah.
So I love how you have that overhang over the front, so you don't get a lot of snow right on your front step.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to have like a whole wraparound deck, and eventually I want to expand on that left-hand side. I want to make that like 20 feet wider, so I can have like a bigger bathroom and a living room and stuff. It's pretty cramped in here, but we've been talking to a neighbor who's in construction about doing it. And yeah, it's just, lumber right now is last year was so expensive, and this year it's probably going to be expensive. So it's not something. Oh yeah, use suction cup handles. That's a really good idea. That didn't occur to me.
Where were you earlier, Tim?
Tim, where were you 12 years ago? Yeah. Next time, when I replace the window, that's when I'll use those, or have a lot of people.
So you even did a video on, like, in van life, we talk about crap all the time, like pooping in a bucket.
Wow.
And all that. You have an outhouse, and then you were digging for a new outhouse. So are you going to use both inside and outside?
Yeah, I use both of them. One of the first videos I saw was Ray's talking about pooping in a bag. And I was like, oh my God, there's other people who do it too. These van life people are awesome. And made me not embarrassed to talk about it, actually. But yeah, so I have inside, I want to do a composting toilet. Like there's those homemade ones that are super cheap with a bucket and sawdust. But right now I just have a camping toilet that, I'll use and just like empty once a week or whatever. But if it's nice out, I'll just go outside in the outhouse. But in the middle of the night, I don't want to run outside in the dark. Especially
the bears are right around your place.
Yeah, like that's one reason I don't like going out in the summer in the middle of the night, is because bears could be wandering by. But I did have a bear wander by a couple of years ago now. That's when I put up all my fencing all around, because the bear was just it was a big, huge grizzly, like 50 feet from the cabin. And he was just like super chill, just sniffing things out. But it was massive. Like I was carrying some dog bowls full of water that I was filling up. And I was actually leaving to go to Vancouver the next day with a friend for like a week. And so I was getting everything ready, and then all of a sudden this bear shows up, and he could smell, I think at the time I had some fish in my freezer, and he probably smelled that.
Oh.
Yeah, this was May, like early May. And so he didn't get into it, which was good because that would have been really bad because he would have probably come back for it. But so I shooed him away after a while, but he went down into the meadow and rolled around and was like hanging out and just wandering by and just like checking the place out. Like I shot my gun and everything, and it didn't even faze him at all. Like he
Really?
Yeah. So, but I talked to the CEO about it, and he's like, sometimes if they've never heard that noise before, they just don't know what it is. So it doesn't really startle them. So yeah. So that's when I was like, even just like my fencing, a bear could get through it. Like it could probably just whap it down and get through it easily, but it's just a little bit of a barrier. If it's wandering around, it won't just stumble on like right beside my cabin accidentally. Like it'll have to, put some effort into it at least. So.
It'll have to be intentional.
Yeah.
So Lex wants to know, do you ever get huge snowdrifts that you literally have to dig yourself out of?
Yeah, actually, well, I don't, yeah, actually there was one year. It's pretty windy here because I have this big open area in front of my place. And one winter I was coming home from work in my little car, and there was a snowdrift, and the wind had blown that day like crazy, and it covered my driveway. And I thought, oh, I could probably get through that. And I just barreled right into it and got stuck like right away. It was probably like, it was higher than my car. So I was like totally stuck in it. And it was like 7:00 at night. And I'm like, I'm not digging it out now. And then I called in sick the next day to work. Told my boss I couldn't get out of my driveway and showed him a picture. And I'm like, I have to dig myself out first. So that was the only time I've really had to dig out of a snowbank.
I think the trees kind of help a little bit with some of that extra drifting.
Yeah, for sure. That's why.
So there was a couple different pictures of you building. Like, is this you part of the cabin, or what are you building here?
Oh yeah, that's the cabin. I was putting in the flooring here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the beginning of the cabin, just when he was putting down the first logs. This is all the builder doing this part.
Okay.
And then with the crane, he was putting like the loft walls on.
Oh wow, weren't you excited when you get to this stage? You're like, oh my God, there's the door, there's the windows.
When it starts to look like something, that's exciting.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how many square feet is it in there?
20 by 24 with that half log.
I put this in here because I wanted to ask you about this.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because in that video, I actually talked about that. And then the video was way too long. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm talking forever. So I cut that part out. But maybe I'll put it in again in another video. But that's a stove. So it's actually those hippie burners that I was talking about earlier. That's the hippie burner stove. And it's half a wood stove. And I got it for finishing the Yukon River Quest 2019. So there's a paddling race from Whitehorse to Dawson City, and it's like the longest paddling race. I think the longest paddling race in the world or something. It's like 700 kilometers, 400 miles. And you do it like nonstop, like you don't sleep. You have to take a couple mandatory breaks, but you basically are sleep deprived and hallucinating and paddling the whole way. So
fun.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a paddler. I don't know why I agreed to do it with a friend of mine, but it was a challenge, and it was exhausting. And I heard voices on the river like near the end, and there's nobody around at all, right? But I'm like, I could hear people talking all over the place. But it was fun. So that was our prize. The second last prize, you get a half a red lantern or a half a wood stove.
Cool. So this is a really good question. Ray wants to know, now that you have a YouTube channel, has that changed your love for cabin and winter life?
Maybe in a way. Like, I guess after being here for 20 years, the winters were kind of wearing on me, I think. And when I started my YouTube channel, I know I was doing a lot of, oh God, it's cold again. And then, people were kind of really interested in it. And like the videos where it's, like minus 38 or 40, like seemed to get some interest. So I was like, hey, maybe, it did make me kind of look at it in a different perspective. And like, because I was so excited when I first moved up here and I experienced minus 50 one day. Like, it was really cold back then. And I remember I was at my neighbor's and we were in their hot tub at minus 52 and it was so cold. And I was so excited. Like, the colder it got, the more excited I got. And back then I wasn't also working in the winter, so it wasn't as tough. But
were you drinking lots back in those days or what?
that too. That helps.
I'm just kidding.
But
Oh,
yeah, and I've really loved sharing it with people, sharing the lifestyle and the Yukon, because I think it's beautiful up here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Skeet, you traitor. I go on a virtual date with Skeet. Now he wants to know when will Stacy be on the dating game?
When's the
I'm not
dating?
having any luck with these boys.
No, not at all.
We'll have to do some more of those, and you'll have to come on one of the streams.
Was that the first one you did?
Yeah, the first time I did the dating game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So is this bringing down logs for your cabin or for your driveway?
That's my driveway. Yeah. So we've got like permafrost here and discontinuous permafrost. And this was an area, so the permafrost will kind of melt once in a while. And when you dig into it, it'll start to melt, right? Because the heat and sun will get to it. So the lands branch here this was kind of like a swampy area too. There was like kind of water on either side of it. So they wanted me to put these logs there, like a corduroy road, it's called. And just to kind of provide some stability under the gravel and dirt. And that was, I'd never done that before either. And that was a exhausting job, but it's held up really well.
So is there a lot of clay in the parts that you're not dealing with the permafrost?
There is, it's weird. There's clay, like I've got, like from the front of my place to the back of my place, it's totally different soils. Like in the front, it's like sandy and really easy to dig through when I dig like holes for whatever. But in the back, when I was digging the outhouse holes, it's really clayey back there. And also I've looked at having a septic system, and they've come and done some drainage testing, and it's like really slow back there. It doesn't drain at all. They'd have to do like an above ground drainage system type thing.
Yeah, we're above a clay bed as well, so we get a lot of that ground shifting.
Oh, okay.
So I was just wondering how that affected maybe your cabin too. So this road, now you've done this, and then you just pile it up with gravel?
Yeah, and then, after this, then I hired somebody to come and build the road. A friend of mine's husband actually had a road building construction company, and he came and did it. And and I cut all the trees down too. And then he came along and he's like, "Oh, I could have just knocked them down for you." I'm like, "Oh my God." I spent weeks with a friend of mine, like we were cutting trees forever. But anyway, so he just came and put dirt and gravel on top of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how you did the. Oh, is this him working?
Oh, so, yeah, that's them doing.
I never realized the logs underneath. I had no idea.
In one spot, it's probably like, I didn't even know how long it'd be, like 50 feet long or something like that. But the rest was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this one of your previous residences?
That's the cabin that had like. So this is where my friends bought property, and this was a cabin on their property, and it was really a crappy little cabin that nobody used for years. There was mice in the roof, and it was just disgusting. And so I moved in. I was just really desperate to get out of where I was and be out of the kennel that I was working at. So I moved here, and it was that cabin is where it was 50 below, and it was like you'd get frost halfway up the walls in the inside because it was so badly insulated. Like it was just a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
It was always cold and the stove was crappy, and it wasn't great.
What's this?
That was getting water. Yeah, one of the creeks. Before I had water here, I would haul it from the creeks.
In buckets like that?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, is this another residence?
Yeah, so that was a tent I was living in before the cabin was built.
Now, are you not scared about bears when you're living in that?
No, because I had my dogs on. I built 2 dog yards, so I was in between them. So there was dogs on either side of me. Plus, I had dogs in the tent with me. So if a bear came around, and they're both dog yards were fenced in, and I was fenced in, so it wasn't really much of a worry.
Oh,
yeah,
huh.
But I was there for a good 5-6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had satellite TV. I had satellite TV in my wall tent. No internet or anything or no phone, but I had satellite TV.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
Yeah, with a generator that I ran.
What's hanging in front of it?
Oh, that's just the law. Or
You have something hanging off that log.
I think it's my friend's camera. I think she had
Oh,
a camera. Yeah. So my friends helped me set up the tent there one day.
and that's it for pictures. Holy moly. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
those are a blast from the past going through those.
We did have a question earlier about what is the dating scene out there like? Like, honest to goodness, I don't know if I want to go colder, but if Ray keeps it up, I'm moving to the Yukon. What are my options for men?
Don't come to the Yukon if you're looking for men. Yeah, I don't know. I got a lot of single friends, women. So I think there's a song that a local artist wrote, and it's called Slim Pickens. It's by Kim Barlow, and it's about men in the Yukon and just how the pickings are slim.
Well, why is there more women than men?
I don't know.
That's interesting. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, you'd think it would be. When I moved up here, I thought that there would be, it would be the opposite, that there would be lots of single guys and stuff. And I don't know, there just doesn't seem to be, but I don't know. I'm not really looking either. So I haven't been looking for years. But maybe they're out there now. I don't know. I have friends who are dating, and they meet guys on, the dating sites and stuff. But, now it's COVID, so it's extra difficult to meet people. You don't go out anywhere.
Yeah. Well, even Jiu-Jitsu 2000, and he's a survival prepper kind of guy. He's like, it's too cold up there to be single. He'd die. And like, he's the one person in this chat that I thought wouldn't have a problem with it.
Oh no, you're able to pull it out when you have to. Like when things get rough, or you get in a tough situation, you just gotta make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you support yourself up there?
Well, I have a full-time job. So I work for the government here, and I've been doing that I've been in government for almost 20 years. No. Well, kind of like part-time and stuff for the first decade or so. I worked at one of the local museums here, and now I'm in communications. So yeah, we started working from home last March, as a lot of people did, and it's been glorious to stay home and not commute anywhere. Commute downstairs to my desk, and that's about it.
How far was your drive?
Oh, it was like it's 70 kilometers, 40 miles. So like about
45 minutes.
In the winter, it could be up to an hour. Yeah. Summer, 45 minutes. Yeah. So it was a lot. I was just telling a friend of mine tonight, like, I don't even remember how I did that. Like it was, you're brushing off the vehicles of snow, you're driving for an hour, working, getting all the stuff done, coming back, getting the dogs out. Like, I don't know how I wasn't more tired when I was doing it. But
there's a bit of discussion in there about how heavy those buckets were with water.
Oh, even like a pound a gallon or something, isn't it? Like the average weight of water. So it'd be like 50, or what is that?
Not a pound a gallon.
No, a pound. Wait, I don't know. It's heavy. Buckets of water. 50 pounds? Maybe 40 to 50 pounds?
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy.
Something. I can't remember how it works. But yeah, it's heavy, and I don't carry buckets of water anymore because I'm older. I can't do that anymore. 8 pounds per gallon.
8 pounds per gallon.
Maybe it's
so that'd be 40 for a 5 gallon pit. 5 gallon. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
So do you ever think about leaving? Do you think you're gonna stay long term, or
I don't know what I'm going to do. Early retirement would be nice, but my parents are getting older, and now in Calgary, and I want to go visit them more. And one day, the van life, that's why I love all the van channels, because that's something I could totally see myself doing one day. Like before I moved up here, and when I was with my ex, we had talked about either living in a van or an RV or on a boat. It was like never wanted to live in a house in the suburbs or whatever. So maybe one day I'll be on a boat somewhere tropical.
V wants to know, do you garden in the summer?
I'm a horrible gardener. I'm not very good at it. I kill all the plants all the time. No, but it's something I'd like to do. My neighbor is awesome. I have a couple neighbors who actually have their own homesteads, and one is she sells her produce and stuff. And I just ended up buying stuff from her last year because every week I'd get a new delivery of fresh vegetables and stuff, and it was way easier and probably cheaper than doing it myself.
Oh, that's right. I saw that one of your videos in your green container. You go to the end of the and pick it up.
She put it at the end of the driveway, and I drive the quad up to get my vegetables at the end of the driveway. But
you don't have to worry about the dogs digging it up or deer coming in at the garden and.
Yeah. I'd have to fence it off pretty good and stuff. And like we got lots of elk around here too, and they've busted down my fence in a couple spots in the winter. So I don't know if they try to get to like a garden in the summer.
Mm-hmm. So Ray wants to know, how is your drone thumb doing? He loves the drone footage, and you do get some amazing views out there.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with the drone. It's always, sometimes I feel like, am I filming the same stuff over and over? But then you look and the light is like totally different one day than the next day, or in the morning. And, is in the evening, it's different. And the sunsets, are just amazing right now because it's been so clear too.
Yeah.
But now it's going to get a little bit cloudier. But yeah, I love doing the drone footage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard to do when you're alone. Like with that new drone that I have, it's not one that doesn't follow you. So it's like I got to kind of drive my quad and fly the drone at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Before we started, I was asking you a little bit about the Northern Lights because I was trying to catch them out here. And I mean, they're a lot more difficult to see here, but you see them quite frequently.
Yeah, they're up pretty frequently. I was telling you that I had some footage on my iPhone, which didn't turn out that great, but you could see kind of the green Northern Lights dancing around. But like the colder it is, like the better lights you'll see, because it's always clear when it's cold out too. So usually it makes for really good Northern Lights. But when I was guiding, like the people, we'd have tourists from all over the place, and they'd be like, wake me up. This one lady, she was like 75 years old, and she'd be like, wake me up. I don't care if it's 2 a.m. or 5 a.m, like come and bang on the door and I want to see Northern Lights. So sure enough, it happened when 3 a.m. one night, and I went to her cabin, knocked on the door, and I stood outside there with them for like 10 minutes. And then I got cold. I'm like, okay, I'm going in. She's like, I'm staying out. So she stayed out and watched them.
Just as a reminder to everyone, Stacy's link to her channel is in the description below. And before we're done this stream in 11 minutes, my moderators will be dropping the link. How far is a supermarket from the cabin, Stacy?
Oh, so that's in town. That's in the Whitehorse. So it's like 70 kilometers away, the 45-minute drive.
This is a good idea. Is it possible even to film the Northern Lights with a drone?
You know what? That's funny you asked that. I was just thinking about that yesterday. As I was thinking about the Northern Lights, I'm like, I wonder if I can get them on the drone. I'm going to try it. Next time I see them, I'm going to get it up there and try it.
Crash the Wild says, yeah, the Northern Lights are hard to catch in Calgary.
Yeah, we didn't see them too often in Calgary, unfortunately. And with all the lights too, in the city, it's hard to see. You have to be where it's pretty dark.
Yeah. Yeah, even here it's hard to catch. Like I made sure I went, there's a certain period of time with the new moon and stuff, and I went out of town, and then I ended up not being able to start my ambulance, and it was a big headache, and I never did get to see, because you never know for sure if you're going to get to see it, right?
Yeah.
So Ray's just jumping in with all the questions. I should have had him up on this stream with me just to ask him. How do you get your internet up there?
So I have, I get mine through the phone company. So I have like a phone line running through here. So I have like DSL. I guess it's not very fast, but I guess next year we're getting fiber optic, which is exciting. But a lot of people use a satellite ExplorerNet if they can't get the phone lines in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you use those little fans that sit on top of your wood burner to blow the heat into any particular area?
No, I used to, but they always seem to break, and they don't really seem to blow that much heat. I never found them that useful in my place anyways.
Mm-hmm. So for wood, log splitter or axe or chainsaw?
Well, nowadays, log splitter all the way. It depends on the year. Like I'll split it with the log splitter. I probably bought it like 3 or 4 years ago. But I used to cut all my wood with the chainsaw and then chop it with the axe. But, that just is so much work and so time consuming that I don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. So what was the name of the museum? Was it in Whitehorse that you worked at?
Yeah, the Bringy Museum. That's where I worked.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that, Karen.
Yeah. I worked there for like 10 years.
Arlette says that apparently this Saturday is supposed to be good for Northern
Yeah, that's good to know. Usually on Facebook, like everybody around will be like, let you know, like they're, oh my God, the Northern Lights are out. Like even people who have lived here for years, still get excited about seeing the Northern Lights. So,
I want to find them. What is there like a certain time of night they usually hit, or
it always seems to be like really late, like at 12 till 4 in the morning kind of thing. Probably because that's when it's like the coolest and darkest and yeah, it doesn't seem to be at convenience times. Like now it's getting dark out, but I wouldn't be able to see anything out there.
Yeah. Wow. You guys, we have 8 minutes left with Stacy. So if you want to get those questions in there, we'll try to get as many as we can. And then my moderators will drop the link to Van Lake Vagina, and we're going to rate her channel in 8 minutes. So you use around 10 cords of wood. In Montana, they use about 8 cords a year.
No, I do and I don't know if we're talking about the same kind of cords. I know there's like different, if you're talking about the regular like 4x4 by 8 feet or whatever, I use like 2 to 3 of those a winter. Sometimes not even 3, but this, like the last 2 weeks with all the cold, I've burned through a lot of my wood. But
here's a silly question. Have you been able to verify if a tree falls in the wood and no one's there? Obviously not.
It still falls.
Oh my goodness. So can you get produce in the winter? Like I'm wondering, because you're familiar with like Calgary and stuff, you can get decent prices, and now you're in the Yukon. Like what is the difference for buying like the price and the availability?
The prices are, more expensive. Not crazy like, in the far north where they have like tiny little communities that charge, $50 for an apple. But our produce goes bad faster. Like it doesn't last as long as it would in Calgary because it's coming up the highway, and taking another couple days to get here. So sometimes that's a bit of a bummer. And there's less availability in the winter too. In the summer, it's awesome because we have so many local gardeners and like farmers markets we can go to.
Mm-hmm.
But winters, yeah. I mean, I bought 3 mangoes today, so, I can get mangoes.
Wow. But
Yeah.
How much were your mangoes?
I don't even know. It was a very expensive shopping trip. A lot of vegetables and fruits today.
So we have a question. What is the cost to buy land up there? And I know that varies a lot, but...
Well, now I was having a conversation with somebody on my YouTube page because they were interested in looking at land up here, and it's really expensive. I got this place as a steal. Like the amount I paid for the land here was like ridiculous. And now it's probably like times that by 100 because it's gone up so much. Like I have a friend who just subdivided her property and is selling a 5-acre parcel of land for over $250,000, just the raw land.
What?
I think it was appraised at $280 actually, and she's about 25 minutes from town, so she's not even in Whitehorse. But houses in Whitehorse are crazy expensive too. Like they're well over $500,000-$600,000. Well, I don't even know, over $500,000 for sure.
If your cabin, the size of your cabin in town, what would that cost?
Oh, I don't know what it would cost in town. Depends where. It's hard to say because there's no cabins in town with like this kind of no running water and stuff. But I'll tell you, a friend of mine, my neighbors down the highway, they have a cabin 16 by 16, kind of like that old one I lived in. They rented it out for $700 a month, and it had no running water. It had an outhouse, and it's like an hour from town, and it's like $700.
Wow.
So
I think I'd take my ambulance and just do some other stuff and put some hay bales around it. And
yeah, like I moved up here at a good time because I got the land. I was lucky to get it this price because I paid like $13,000 for my property, and my friends of mine bought property the same size, like down the highway, like the next year, and it went up to over $50,000 for
why? Why is it going up so much?
It just skyrocketed that year. I don't know why.
Well, what do you guys have for jobs out there? Like Anne asked, do you have problems with guys mining for gold? So, I mean, there must be some agriculture out there. There's obviously the people with the forestry. What else do you have?
Like a lot of people work for government. Yeah, there's some mines that are open too. Yeah, but mostly if you're talking about in Whitehorse, it's a lot of people do work for the government. And then we've got the communities, there's communities spread out across the Yukon, and they'll work for either the government or like the municipalities or whatever. Yeah.
Well, most of the other people that don't work for government, like, are they farmers? Are they trappers?
There's definitely like lots of agriculture up here, and like there's definitely lots of homesteads and farms and stuff too. Yeah, there's those as well. Like there's a elk farm here. There was a bison farm just down the highway from me. Lots of cows and pigs, pigs and farms, chickens.
So is there any problem with guys mining for gold?
Problems with them? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I'm wondering, do you get a lot of, well, do you have oil up there either?
Oil?
Yeah.
Like mining for oil or whatever? No.
Drilling for oil. You don't have any oil wells up there?
No, it's mostly for like silver and stuff. Like there's a gold mine or a silver mine. I mean, in Dawson, there's still like some people still do gold mine. Like there's lots of gold mining up near Dawson still. There's like they're on the TV show, the Gold Rush TV show or whatever too. But I don't know how much money.
I think maybe that question could have been like in our area. Sometimes the guys, young or old, that work on the rigs, on the oil rigs, there's a lot of drinking and drugs and partying. You know, those kinds of things. Do you find anything like that at all? That
I don't know if it's from them. I know Whitehorse is getting a little bit more like of the drug trade and like people coming up from Vancouver and stuff, like more gangs and stuff. That's more of a problem. And I think miners are. I think they're probably drinkers like the rest of us.
Oh, that's right. You had a couple beer when you were planning the layout of your cabin.
Yeah. I did, and I'm having one right now, actually.
There you go. So we have a question. We only have a minute and a half left, but what kind of drone do you use, Stacy?
Well, now I use the Mavic Mini, but I also have the Phantom, DJI Phantom 4 that I love because it's so good in the winds and stuff, but I crashed them both, but the Phantom needs to be fixed. I need to send it off to be fixed so I can use it again. Because I can't send that little Mavic Mini out in very strong winds, although it did hold up to like minus 35 for about 5 minutes the other day, which was pretty impressive.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Do you find a huge difference with how much batteries drain when it gets that cold?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they drain pretty fast. But the Mini actually runs longer than the Phantom, too. I was surprised about that. I could get half an hour out of it, I think. Yeah. And in the cold. That was in the cold. No, it was like 20 minutes in the cold.
Yeah.
The Phantom, I get maybe 15. Yeah.
So I'm just going to remind everybody that we are rating van life with Gina, and the link for Stacy is in the description of this video. Stacy, I want to thank you so much. Like, I wish I could just see you as a regular person coming in on the stream.
That'd be awesome. And I want to start doing live streams too, and I'd love to have you guys come and join me sometime too. So let me know.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure everybody here would love to come and watch it and get to ask you all those kinds of questions. Like, I'm just, I'm not one to watch videos longer than 5 minutes, but yours, I watch them all.
Oh, wow. Thanks. I know. Yeah. I'm like that too. I sometimes can't believe people watch the longer videos, but then when I find one I really like, I'll stick with it too. So it's awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. This has been fun, and it was nice to chat with everybody.
Yeah, you'll have to pop in on some of our Saturday streams too. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming out. You guys were awesome with all your questions, and I will see you guys all Saturday night.
All right. Thanks.